waiting for especially the last one, COVID vaccines and what have you. Most of the additions to what came in were actually e-waste.
Yeah.
And unknown to the unsuspecting and I won't call it educated, unenlightened in that aspect. They just took everything hook, line, and sinker. There was a time some Chinese came in from China, doctors as they were called, and then the Nigerian Medical Association had to say they can't practice and they can't even attend to their nationals in Nigeria. They must become registered members of and then be certified to practice in Nigeria. And later a lot went on and they took them in and said they will only attend in their own clinic. But whatever it was out of place. Nigeria is a sovereign country. You do not mess around the laws of the country because you are China, America, Canada, or what have you. So these are the issues. I think that's what you meant by corruption.
Yeah.
Contributions. And the issue is, at times they even label in the guise of helping Nigeria with the issues of pharmaceutics. They bring in e-waste. In the guise of helping with agricultural machinery, what have you, they load up e-waste and send in here. And now that we're talking about GMO sequencing and the issue of biowarfares and all of that, this is a time for us to be very guardedly cautious, if we have to use that word, because whatever plant material, whatever we have and all of that, it gets onto polluting the soil and all of that. And then at the end of the day, we are now the guinea pigs. And then these things, as I think, would lead to degenerating diseases and inflammatory diseases like cancers and tumors, growths, and things like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. In my work in the past, we've seen evidence of these harmful chemicals present in a lot of the e-waste leach into the soil, leach into the waterways.
Yeah.
And especially with the fish, they're bioaccumulated very quickly.
Yes.
And once eaten, the damage is insane. Yes. We've seen evidence of pregnant women having issues with stillbirths.
Yes.
Their babies being born with physiological problems, failing.
And surprisingly, it's in the rural areas, rural community, riverine communities or bordering communities, you find such funny things happening. And then you begin to wonder. Like I said, there was a friend I saw with one small bottle. It's about 3-liter bottle. And he said he was going to mix it with water to irrigate his farm, and that will cover 10 hectares. And I said, how can this small bottle? He said, well, it works. You soon see how it goes. So they get to where they have their water course, the pond that's dug with water in it, and they empty it there. And then they now pump using the channels across their rice farm. And you see in 3 weeks, the rice paddy, all green. And I begin to wonder, I say, whatever that chemical is, whatever fertilizer that is, it's beyond just, it's steroids. That's steroidal and it gets into the food because it must get into the plant, and then at the end of the day, we consume.
Yeah.
What's your take on that kind of agriculture and this quick growth, 6 weeks corn, 8 weeks corn is already ready to be eaten instead of the normal 3.5, 4 months?
Yeah, I think there are ways for that to be achieved
because of GMO and all of that.
If we look at hydroponics and aquaponic farming, this is very evident where they're growing things in 28 days. That usually take a couple months to produce.
Yes. How healthy is it?
I'm not sure I can really speak on the health factor.
Okay.
I'm not too well versed on that, but I do know that there are some significant benefits to that kind of process.
Okay.
Although it may be expensive initially to produce, I think the net benefit is positive. I think that the overall impact will end up being a positive.
But how sure are you that there will be harmful residue and deposits because of the method?
Yeah, I understand the concern, and I can see where people would worry about that.
Because in Nigeria, let's take the word fadama farming. We do fadama farming, which means you irrigate and it's not only rain fed, but water through irrigation courses and all of that. Now, they want to have corn all year round. We used to have a system where you knew that this is not a corn season, you will not see corn. But now you have corn all year round.
Yeah.
And so dry season farming, mid-season, if I will use that word, farming and what have you. And then people are all out there growing and quick growth. So
I think the main thing that we need to consider is public trust in the science.
Okay, that's another issue.
If the public has enough confidence in the science and the people...
But there are already issues out there. People are out there, you find on social media and all that platform, people criticizing or making a critique, let's use the word, a critique of some of these scientific methods of GMO sequencing and the issues of targeting and what have you, and the issues of killing the system of pollination through wind and other methods to bio means where it does not need to be pollinated, it just happens because it's already programmed to. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's a complicated one.
Yes.
And the trepidation people have is warranted, 100%.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not entirely sure I can really provide.
Because the idea is this: if it doesn't go the whole hog, if it doesn't go the full systemic way we are used to, and we have a bridge so on and so forth, we might be running short of the chemical nutrients and all of that. It's not only about the end products of carbohydrates, it's the chemicalization, the nutrients, yes, might have its shortfall years ahead because we've not studied it that long. It's just a new technology and all of that. And so at the end of the day, you might have people coming down with diseases that it's just because it's chemicalized. Because if you go to shops now, you find those that they tell you this one is purely plant-based, this is pure, and then they tell you this one, okay, we won't use the word technology, but they just say this is growth enhanced and this is this. And so people go for either this or go for that. I saw where they are farming meat. And then it's chemicalized, but then you have meat, but it's just things put together and it comes out as meat. So how healthy will all that be?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But I believe with the growing food insecurity worldwide, I believe these steps have to be taken. And I understand where the concern comes from, and I do believe that longer term studies need to be put in place to investigate the impacts long term.
Yes.
Because there are novel techniques to food growth. They are new. Because
what we find is that most times it's in Africa that these tests are carried out.
Yeah.
And then because out there they are afraid of getting their people infected or what have you, and there are issues, then you find buy-ins with institutes and other schools and what have you, and farm shards and what have you, and then at the end of the day, but it's all that Africa is the one that bears the brunt of most of all of this, and Nigeria being the population we have, we are in the midst of it. And sometimes, even unknown to government, people come out and set up small farms, small setups where they are doing these tests in rural areas and giving seeds that are, and then at the end of the day, you begin to, because there are those other issues of waste, as it were, if we would call it that at the end of the day. So, we'll take a short break and we'll come back and we'll open the phone lines and the lines to call in. The lines are 0903-2229-797. I take it again, MTN 0903-2229-797. And the hybrid WhatsApp line is 0818-2222-205. I take it again, 0818-2222-205. Now, Airtel line is 080-822-22037. Citizen FM 93.7, The Environment Are You. My name is Stephen OGBOLI. Happy listening as we come back. Short break. The issues of e-waste and what have you. What's your summation? What is actually e-waste? Let's bring it down to the understanding of those out there. What is e-waste?
E-waste. It can range from anything from your computers,
yes,
to your cars,
yes,
but specifically the components that make up these devices that we use every day, from your microwave to your oven, to your refrigerator. They all contain
residue,
potentially harmful
ions and what have you, which are not mostly at times not biodegradable.
No, and unfortunately, when they are sent abroad, they're sent to countries that don't have the capacity to handle them in the first place.
Like we have lithium batteries coming in, and because we're trying to go solar and go electric, we have issues of people bringing in refrigerators that are already obsolete. In fact, in some countries, if you have such refrigerators, you are a hazard to the system. Now we find all those refrigerators end up at the ports in Lagos and coming and everything. And for us here, we are overjoyed. We've just received, we have air conditioning systems and all that. And Nigeria is the biggest market in the world for used cars. And for us here, we are happy. We are driving 20-year-old cars, 15-year-old cars, and all of that. So what's your take? What's the issue?
That's been one of the biggest criticisms of international policy regarding e-waste. There's no set policy in any of these major conventions, the Bamako or the Basel, that require countries importing e-waste and receiving e-waste to have the capacity to manage it. So they'll accept all the e-waste for some minimal financial gain. But they don't have the infrastructure to formally handle it, to recycle it, to process it in a safe and ethical manner. And then leaves all these workers in serious danger.
Now the issue is this: there's the issue of also rubber tires and plastics and all of that. They are all coming in the same because the computer is made up of all plastics and all. Now the issue of even breaking down and managing e-waste, like in Nigeria now, I don't see us, we don't have incinerators, we do not have any waste to power plant. Like Abuja now needs a waste to power plant. Everywhere we have a lot of human waste. We have the e-waste now because most of the computers brought in 20 years ago are all packed up and all that. You go to some shopping malls and centers, you see heaps here and there of things and ending up in dump sites and what have you. What do you think we need to do?
I think...
Is it the area of policy? Is it the area of management? Is it the area of monitoring? What area do you think? What do you think is?
I think it's definitely an intersection of all those that you mentioned. As far as policy goes, I think the main issue that we have is that approximately, I think it was in 2016, there was 44.7 million tons of e-waste generated. And less than 20% of that was recycled. So the rest of it is in informal recycling plants, in dumps, leaching into the soil. So for us to have significant change, there has to be measures put in place to help developing countries build. They have to build infrastructure. As you mentioned, recycling plants, they're not very effective in a lot of these countries that receive e-waste.
Yes.
There needs to be an overhaul of policy. These conventions need to be ratified, and they need to be
domesticated,
restructured in a way that exporting countries cannot bypass with mislabeling.
The issue of mislabeling.
There needs to be more stringent application of consequences to breaking these conventions, because at the moment it's very lax.
So that's it. The phone lines are open. MTN 0903 2229 797. I take it again, 0903 2229 797. WhatsApp hybrid line is 0818 2222 205. I take it again, 0818 2222 205. Airtel line is 0808 2222 037. The lines are open, and we want to know what you think and how you feel and what you think government should do. Yes, now that we have agencies, we have the National Biosafety Agency, we have the National Oil Spill Detection Agency, we have the NESRIA, we have the Standards Organization of Nigeria, we have NAFDAC for Food and Drugs Administration. We have all of these, a potpourri of organizations, all supposed to regulate, monitor, and then lead to policy implementation. What is the link? How come we have all the agencies and we have signed up all the conventions? What do you think where is the missing link?
These agencies will never be effective as long as the infrastructure is lacking. And unfortunately, a lot of the waste that's managed is not formally managed. They're managed informally by
artisanal.
Exactly. By a lot of the time, it's a lot of disenfranchised groups, marginalized people that handle this waste, and these people.
And they're not properly taught.
They could be highly skilled workers if the proper mechanisms put in place with formal teaching. Because the importation of e-waste could be an economic boost for a lot of these countries if handled appropriately.
Yes.
With effective training.
For local technology, it can be a build-back system. What's the difference between how it's managed in Europe, for example, let's take UK, and what we are doing here?
For UK, for example, they have recycling plants across the country. We don't have many, if any, that are effective. And the recycling of e-waste is expensive.
Which is true.
Which is the main reason a lot of it is exported.
Yes, because it's an expensive venture to do.
It's an expensive venture. So if these global
South is it okay? Go ahead.
If these global South countries are willing to accept and informally process this e-waste, why won't the West take advantage of it?
Which is true.
That's the issue. We're accepting all of this with very minimal support from these countries exporting waste, with very minimal financial gain. Because you've said the issue, the support and the financial gain. In the Basel Convention, there was addition to receiving countries should also receive certain support from those countries sending in. We don't seem to get any of that. All we just have is cars come in, refrigerators, broken down computers, everything just comes in, television sets, everything just comes in, even clothing and all of that. Everything just comes in, and then nothing is left for to say, okay, for you having received ABC, downstream we will help you sort out the management in this area, and this is what we are. Is it not time for Nigeria to ask for those palliatives, or what we call those areas of remediation? We should be asking. And that's been one of the major criticisms scholars in this area of research have had. Is these conventions, they don't require the sending countries to do any of this. They state it's up to the sending countries to make the decision to do it, but there's no implementation,
no enforcement. There's nothing.
There's no enforcement of any of this.
So they just dump on us what they. And there's now the issue of nuclear waste, or radioactive waste. Let's use that, because of uranium is being mined in some areas. Now we have the local artisanal miners who are creating this problem locally, because they are mining gold, mining things, using very toxic and very dangerous chemicals, and it finds its way to the water courses and all that. Who should we hold responsible? Is it the government of the day, or is it the persons who are coming? Because let's use the right words. The Chinese are everywhere in our bushes, in our villages, in our towns, in our hamlets, doing what they are doing and getting away with it. There's no compensation. Even when they say they would refill, or do some reclamation activities when they finish, we are left where we are.
Yeah, and that's why I think for a more ethical and equitable e-waste sector across the global south to be produced, we need to have a more robust framework that extends producer responsibility.
Okay.
And a lot more responsibility must be assigned to governments to safeguard the rights of their own citizens.
And that is not, we're not there yet.
We're not there yet, unfortunately.
Okay. And so what do you think the downside of it should be now that people are having health challenges and what have you? Is it our place to begin to push for it to happen, or that's what I mean, the informal sector now, or is it government that we must wait for?
Yeah, that's because as a local citizen,
yes,
do you really have the power to make effective change without the support of your government?
That's
especially in these informal sectors, where, for the most part, there is no governmental pressure and governmental directive to make any sustainable change.
That's true.
Because there's no economic layout for the government in these informal sectors.
Yes.
Because it will cost the government a lot of money, unfortunately, to formalize the e-waste sector across the global south.
Yes.
And
that is not,
there's no initiative
towards that. Okay. We'll take a short break. I will be back. Water, no get enemy. Program The Environment and You continues after the short break. The phone lines are open. The MTN line 090322299797. The hybrid WhatsApp line 0818-2222-205. Airtel line 0808-2222-037. The Environment and You back shortly. Water, no get enemy. If you want the global south, the issues of and all of that, what should we be as Nigeria driving for at this time, or what should be our focus on the issues of waste?
I think our focus has to be safeguarding the rights of our citizens.
Okay.
Because far too many of us are dealing with the poor decision making of our leaders, unfortunately.
Okay.
A lot of those in power in regards to waste management,
yes,
in regards to the import of e-waste and other forms of waste, from what I've understood in my research, aren't fully aware and fully understand the scope of the issues
and the damage being done.
The damage being done, exactly.
Because we're in a hurry to industrialize. Exactly. We're in a hurry to develop. We're in a hurry to move forward.
Exactly. But do we want to develop at the
speed
expense of our people?
Of our people.
That's the main concern I have.
Because what we have is that when you ask them to give you that aid you mentioned earlier, they come with the 30-year-old trucks, they come with the 30-year-old vehicles, they come with the 30-year-old refrigerators.
Yeah.
They come with, they don't give you brand new products.
No. And unfortunately, these things are deteriorating very quickly.
Very quickly, because change of climate and what have you. And they don't even give you the other end of managing it. There's the finances to manage it and all of that.
And that's where the biggest issue is coming from. And so, that's why, from the work I've done in the last few years, I've been advocating for the introduction of a global e-waste management regulatory board.
Okay.
Which would monitor, safeguard, and appropriately ensure that receiving countries have the capacity to handle what is being sent.
And where there is breach, those people should be held
accountable. Exactly. So such an organization will be able to enforce the guidelines outlined within the Basel and Bamako conventions.
Okay.
It'll hold people accountable for their role in the e-waste crisis.
Okay.
It will ensure that workers are treated equitably and ethically. They're safeguarded, their rights are not violated.
Okay.
They're provided a fair wage, fair compensation.
Yes.
Appropriate working conditions are ensured across the board.
Okay.
Because that's one of the main concerns, as I mentioned. The working conditions for these people that are processing a lot of the e-waste is very detrimental to their health.
Yes.
And these standards would never be accepted in the West.
No,
so why must we accept them at home, you know?
Yes. So, and largely Nigeria is one of the biggest dumping grounds. Of course, all the other, most of the developing countries are, but Nigeria, because of our huge population and the unguided systems we manage, it's huge dumping and all of that. And nothing is done to clean up afterwards. It's just indiscriminate and what have you.
And I think countries have to finance public awareness campaigns.
Okay.
Because I remember reading a paper where they interviewed people in India, and 94% of participants were not aware of
the issues.
96% were not aware of formal recycling practices. And I think it was 93% of people, 7% of people were aware of the impact that ineffective management of e-waste can have
on them.
That's 93% of people in this survey were unaware of the damages that are being caused by the government.
Just like in Nigeria, all they will tell you is that you brought in a product, you brought in a machinery for them. They don't know it's waste.
Exactly.
And it breaks down and it's out there. So you go through most of our farm shards, farming communities, what have you. You see a lot of things dumped. You go into our even hospitals, you go into our schools, you go into across laboratories, everything dumped, and we begin to wonder. Okay, it's been a wonderful time talking with you. What's your final take? What do you think the Environmental Management Institute should do in this regard?
My final take is we just have to want better for ourselves.
Okay.
We have to want better for our people. And that's only going to come with increased care for our neighbor, increased care for our brothers and sisters. And unfortunately, nothing's going to change unless those in power are willing to make the change.
Okay. And then for us that go abroad and also import these things, what do you think? What do you think? For us that is the Nigerian that goes abroad there, goes scavenging and goes bringing in all those things.
On the individual level, I understand the need for it. I understand
survival instincts and just business.
From a purely business point of view, it makes a lot of sense. You're getting money, you're receiving money to take waste that you're not going to manage yourself, you're not going to dispose of appropriately yourself. So on an individual perspective, it makes perfect sense. But that's why I say the care for the next man has to be.
We should all watch our greed, and we should all be our brother's keeper. Okay. That's it today on our program Environment and You. Richard Kalu, a friend from UK, had been here, and we've been discussing issues on